In this new segment of Advisor Revelations, the DPL team will discuss how to evaluate new solutions and address current challenges and the strategies that can help you grow your firm and AUM.
Welcome to the Advisor Revelations podcast. I'm Rossman Goodwin, Regional Vice President of Member Success at DPL. And joining me today is Matt Grillo, the Director of DPL's Breakaway Accelerator program. Today, we will share how advisors are leveraging this program to scale their firms, increase revenue, and so many other benefits that we'll dive into here shortly. As a reminder before we begin, we encourage our listeners to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming app and connect with our team at dplfp.com. There you can find more resources as well. Matt, thanks for joining the discussion today.
Well, thanks for having me, Ross.
Yeah, I think this is your first time joining the podcast, and you're about 6 months into your journey here at DPL. So just to start things off, tell us a bit more about your background and how you got started here at DPL.
All right, absolutely. I spent the last 10 years working very specifically in the RIA space with advisory annuities. Spent time at Great West Financial, running national accounts, working with advisors that used TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab as their custodian. Mm-hmm. From there, I moved on to work at various annuity carriers, and then ultimately found an opportunity to join DPL to help advisors accelerate their move to independence while also maintaining control of their annuity book.
Yeah, so you have absolutely fantastic background, and really excited to have you on our team now. And of course, leading our Breakaway Accelerator program. And Breakaway Accelerator program is something that is still relatively new, but it's really kicked into high gear this calendar year. Of course, partially thanks to you. So tell the audience a bit more. What is the Breakaway Accelerator program? What is it meant to accomplish? And what should they know about it, just high level, to get started?
Oh, of course. So the Breakaway Accelerator program allows advisors to, truly move to independence and maintain, visibility and control over their clients' annuity contracts. What we're able to do is help provide insight and guidance on those existing contracts, and also some guidance on, are there better options where we can help you transition your clients' annuities into an advisory-based annuity contract? So not non-commission paying contracts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's an important program because I think advisors, when they are preparing for that breakaway date or they're exploring the opportunity, the annuities and insurance is always a bit of the hang up or the problem child of the discussion. What are a lot of the challenges that advisors are facing when they're approaching that decision, and what maybe they need to know about how this could be a good initial strategy?
Some of the hurdles that you'll face when you want to be able to maintain control of your annuity contracts is going to be licensing and affiliation with the broker-dealer to have the sales and servicing agreements in place with those annuity carriers. Here at DPL, we take care of all of that for you. We have the licensing, we have the broker-dealer. We're able to provide agent of record services, as well as help you take advantage of writing new business, whether it be new money or via a 1035 exchange or transfer.
Right.
And one of the nice aspects of the program is to help analyze an entire book of business in a very short amount of time. And again, to be able to provide guidance as to, are the clients in a contract that is still best suited for them? Or is there an advisory option to help them increase income and enhance some guarantees or lower overall expenses, for the long run moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's the key differentiator with DPL's approach, is that it's not just taking a look at the servicing and in transition of the accounts where they already are, but looking at new potential ideas in concert with that approach of, hey, we need to figure out how we're going to manage these client relationships. So that proactive 1035 review that we can provide is absolutely key, and something that advisors definitely should not skip over as a key area of focus when you're getting started with the project.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt, can you share some ideal use cases for firms that have been ideal candidates or have found the most value with this type of scenario, and what firms should look out for if they're going to be ideal candidate for this program?
Yeah, the ideal firm are those that want to maintain control and access to their clients' annuity business without having to maintain licenses and broker-dealer affiliations. So some of the areas that we help boost is, again, providing that expert guidance on annuity contracts, both existing and new. We help firms increase revenue by help moving away from a commission model to their fee-only business model to be more in line with the overall book of business and how RIA firms tend to operate. One of the other nice aspects is, again, that visibility. We're able to provide information through the DPL website, through the advisor portal, but we can also feed data, into their integration softwares so that they're able to maintain, a close eye on those contracts, but also allow clients to be able to see their annuities right in line with all of their other investments.
Yeah, and that's key because if you're making that transition potentially to the RA side, there's a big fear that you're not going to be able to see those assets or easily manage them. And there's also a lot of worries about, how are we going to bring this with us? And clearly answering those questions, but then taking a step further and then saying, let's look at that advisory option if it makes more sense for your client. So when firms are looking at potentially breaking away and they're looking through their annuity book, there's a lot of layers of cost and a lot of layers that go into what's the net revenue for that firm and how valuable is that book of business. That's why we're really proactive to look at that 1035 side, but then also walk the firm through what does that journey to independence mean to their bottom line. So we have a lot of those conversations about what does it mean to the firm from a net revenue perspective to consider this program. Can you walk the audience through what that math equation looks like and really what the benefits can mean to them?
Absolutely. So when we look at revenues being generated from an annuity book of business, we'll start with the commission side. Depending on what comp option was taken when that contract was issued, it could have been an all upfront commission with no ongoing revenue, or there could have been some sort of trail revenue that will generate ongoing revenues on a year-by-year basis. Transitioning to an advisory contract, again, it aligns the annuity book of business with all of the client's other investments, where an advisory fee can be charged to manage that asset. From that regard, we're able to oftentimes enhance that revenue to the advisor. And again, it falls more in line with their entire business model as an independent RIA.
That's huge. And then for the advisor who's trying to consider continuing to pay for that broker-dealer relationship versus relinquishing that relationship, and then for that business that can't be exchanged, we have a model here where we can hire them to manage the assets and be paid an advisory fee. Can you walk the audience also through the costs that go into the broker-dealer and what they should consider before maybe considering that move to independence?
Of course. Oftentimes, advisors will maintain a relationship with a broker-dealer so that they're able to continue to service their clients' annuity contracts. We know that there are going to be costs associated with that. Any revenue that's generated will hit the broker-dealer's grid before it's paid out to the advisor, but also the registrations for all of your FINRA licenses, the technology fees to be with the broker-dealer. So to be able to allow that expense to go away is meaningful and impactful.
Yeah, 100%. And that can be impactful for, like you mentioned, maybe one advisor, be one-man shop. We, of course, work with plenty of those types of firms or some of these larger organizations. This is a really big deal to be able to get everyone over to that RA model, especially if the annuities and insurance is what's been holding them up. So I think that's important to establish. So hopefully that's helpful for the audience. In terms of looking at, thinking about the whole program and what are typically the initial steps to take or consider this relationship, what should advisors know? What are immediate action items that advisors can take back and start working on to consider this type of arrangement?
Steps they can do is to gather information on their existing annuity book, how many contracts, where they're at. Statements oftentimes provide the information that we're looking for to be able to provide an accurate analysis on what clients currently hold.
To your point, Matt, there's a lot of different costs to consider, and it's important for advisors to understand their options, but also what this is going to look like from a financial perspective. So For 1035 exchanges, of course, an advisor can charge their AUM fee. Like you said, it would align with the rest of their assets in the portfolio on the fee-only side. But for contracts that we can't replace that go through this agent of record change program, what does it look like from a potential revenue standpoint for that advisor?
Yeah, here at DPL, we act as an extension of the RIA's fiduciary responsibility to their clients. So for contracts where a transition to an advisory-based annuity is not in their best interest, we can go ahead and help execute an agent of record change. Any revenue that is generated from an agent of record change block of business, we will turn around and hire the advisor to manage those assets. And we will pay them an advisory fee spread out across the entire book of business, whether it's generating revenue or not generating revenue. We are truly here to help keep the revenue stream going on an advisory fee basis.
Yeah, and that's important because you're getting paid an advisory fee by DPL in that event, but it's still within that fiduciary fee-only framework. So certainly we can get into more of that if anyone who's listening has more questions. But in terms of the amount of revenue that a firm can be paid, it really depends on, like you said, the block of business and what it looks like. So every case is going to be completely different. It's, I think, the moral of the story on that one.
Yeah, every book is unique. But again, acting as a fiduciary or an extension of the fiduciary responsibility, we want to make sure that we're able to provide the service to the clients that is going to be in their best interest moving forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if someone's listening to this and they're maybe considering making that change to be an RIA or considering that journey to independence, what's typically the timeline for a lot of folks? When should they start taking action and what can they maybe do right now?
Taking action as quickly as possible. For those that want to make the move to true independence, we can have an annuity book analyzed, evaluated within a week or so. Mm-hmm. And then as far as, the process to transition to an advisory-based contract, we're looking at, anywhere in the 4 to 6 week range. For those agent of record contracts, again, we're falling right in line in that 4 to 6 week timeframe to have those requests processed. That will allow visibility to come to DPL, which in turn will be able to provide the visibility back to the advisor to try to mitigate any blind spots throughout the process.
Yeah, so I think for everyone listening, it makes sense to go ahead and start taking action now. Get that information over to us, statements, client figures, and then as Matt said, we can really go as quickly as a firm needs. It can typically, for a large book of business, be as quick as a week to get the ducks in a row on what options make sense either for exchange or AOR change. So I know we're almost through our time today. Anything else that you think advisors should be aware of with the program or any other considerations just to wrap things up?
I can give you just a quick example of a firm that we have worked with and how we were able to help them increase revenues to the firm while at the same time putting their clients in a better position from their annuity strategy standpoint. We analyzed a book of annuity contracts. It was about 100 contracts in total. Mm-hmm. And once we were able to move everything over via the agent of record change while simultaneously executing on 1035 exchanges, we were able to take their annual revenue on that book of business from 10 basis points across the entire book to north of 60 basis points across the entire book. There were some contracts that needed to stay where they were because that was definitely the best strategy for the client moving forward. But to be able to reposition into the advisory contracts, we were able to enhance revenue to the firm quite a bit in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the move to 1035 is really what unlocks that huge increase in revenue. And I think that's what makes it so exciting to be able to partner with someone like DPL is that we have the technology to quickly find where that makes sense. And of course, 20 plus carriers, 60 plus solutions, it's all right there. We just have to get the information and then collaborate and then, we can unlock that potential. So that's a great use case. And I'm sure there's others out there that will be lining up for that same opportunity.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, every book is unique. Every firm has a different philosophy. We're here to help maintain that annuity strategy, when it makes sense for clients.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that was fantastic, Matt. Really appreciate you joining the podcast today. And I think this is going to be a really hot topic for the rest of this year, but years to come, as a way that we can support firms and really supporting, again, that move to independence and maintaining control for clients and for advisors working together moving forward. So really excited about the potential of the program. And appreciate you jumping on today.
Yeah, no, thank you again for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So appreciate you joining. And I want to, of course, thank the listeners for joining us today. I also want to make sure that you subscribe to Advisor Revelations podcast, where you can automatically get all of these great episodes in your feed wherever you do subscribe to podcasts. And of course, visit dplfp.com to access other great content moving forward. So thanks, Matt. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ross.
Thanks for listening. To hear more Advisor Revelations, go to dplfp.com and subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming app.